All right. So Regis Reeves, this mic is all yours. And hopefully...
You're listening to ACIM Gather Radio for students and teachers of A Course in Miracles. Join us at acimgather.us.
It's okay to have just a little, and it's swell to have a lot. On the bottom or in the middle, in a rowboat or a yacht. Love is what we long for, to be acknowledged and to be seen. In the end, does it really matter if you're a prince, a pauper, or a queen? The more you give, the more you give, the more you live, the more you live. Your happiness is relative. And if you're feeling like crap, it's time to face the fact. It's your prerogative. Your prerogative. To be positive. If we've come what we believe, then as we think, ye shall receive. So let go of the past. Pull your head from your ass. It's your prerogative. To be positive. Here where the ever after is. Here is where the laughter is. Be a tambourine man in the yellow submarine and be positive. Positive. Don't hang on tight. Let it all go. The more you find out, the less you know. Life is just slipping right through your hands. She's up there, and that's why you're making your plans. Try your best, give it all you got. You might win, you might lose. Shoot your best shot. Get mad, get even if you lost. You gotta learn how to love, learn how to trust. The more you give, the more you live. Your happiness is relative. But if you're feeling like crap, it's time to face the fact. It's your prerogative. To be positive. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrender.
I am loving awareness. no loneliness and no fear. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. I am loving awareness in everything that I see. I am loving awareness. I am you, you are me. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. I am loving awareness in every breath that I take. I am loving awareness in the love that we make. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. In the rivers that flow and the rains that pour down, in the clouds of the sky, in the forests and fields, in the mountains, I see love. In the tears that you cry, by the sound of your voice, in the touch of your skin, we are saying as one, and we're rising above, letting go into love.
You are loving awareness. You bring love, you are here. You are loving awareness. No loneliness and no fear.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. You are loving awareness in everything that you see. You are loving awareness. I am you, you are me. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari bring love, we are here. We are loving awareness. No weakness and no fear. Hari-Om, 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 Hari-Om. We are loving awareness in everything that we see. We are loving awareness. I am you, you are me. Hari-Om, Hari-Om, we are loving awareness in every breath that we take. We are loving awareness in the love that we make.
We think, okay, there we go. Now I believe we have sound, yes. And we are loving awareness in every step, every breath we take, no matter what. And we can only be what we are. A bird can only be a bird. A butterfly can only be a butterfly. So who is convincing us that we are something else other than what we are, and why do we believe it? It can tell us, it can suggest, people can suggest to me who I am. And sometimes I can feel like the suggestions are coming from right inside of me. Some voice inside of me is telling me who I am and who I am not. But is it true? And why do I believe it? No one could convince us that a bird was not a bird, that a bird was a frog. No, it's a bird. I see it. I believe it. But we who have this human experience are so convinced that we are someone we're not. And of course, if we want to have an excuse, our excuse is, well, we were born into a world innocent. And when we exited our mother's womb, all we knew is what they told us, the caretakers, the family members, the neighbors, the friends, the schoolmates. All we knew is what they suggested that we are. So we took everything at face value. And that's okay. But now that we're able to choose, now that we have new information, what's our goal? What's the purpose of all this new information? Is it to say, yeah, that's good. That really made me feel good. I'm glad I read that. I'm glad I tuned in today. Boy, did that make me feel better. And is that the sum total of all of this new information? Just to have moments of feeling good, feeling better than we were before. So we are taking in this new thought, this higher thought, truthful thought of who we are. And we are allowing it to slowly retrain us. We're developing a new thought system, a new belief system that will become our everyday, all day experience. That's the goal. That typically doesn't happen overnight. There are few people on the planet or who have lived on the planet where it is seemingly appears that they just completely awaken, like in a moment, in an instant. But there's this continuation of, because as long as we're in a body, the body is convincing us that we are a body. And we're to remember that we are more than a body. I am not a body. I am free. I am still as God created me. It's what A Course in Miracles teach. And whether we're very familiar with Western religion, Christianity, or any other forms of ideas about this human experience, we learn through them all that we are more than a body. That's not new information. That's not, well, if I'm not a body, who am I? Well, ask the first person that suggested that you are more than a body. Because that's basic Christianity 101. I'm just a pilgrim passing through. The world is not my home. Heaven is my home. And one day I'm going to leave this body, going to walk around heaven all day. Well, fine. I'm not here to dissect the afterlife. So let's not get all caught up when someone says I'm not a body, that this world is not real. Everybody and everything that we've known since we've been here 20 or 30 years or more, then we began to embrace or warm up to the concept that there is more to me. And when I leave this me that I know myself to be, there is still a me that lives a space in a place that's beyond this that I call world. So let's just relax into that and accept it. Let it be. Or better still, let's not be so overwhelmed about ideas of not being a body. We're just hearing different words and making much to do about it. Deep in us, deep within us, and all underneath all of our frustration, a lot of our underlying frustration is just that we know that we are more than this, and we can't figure out how to break out, how to go beyond this limitation, this body limitation, these limits, the limitations of my story, how I was raised, who raised me, what I was raised without, what I had too much of, what I didn't have enough of. We know something in us cries out more. There's more to me than this. Not that it's not crying out for more of the world. That's what we translate it into because we don't know what else to do with it. Well, maybe I should get more cars, more clothes, more shoes, more houses, bigger houses, more friends, more noticed. What can I do to be noticed more? Followers, likes, etc., etc. So Lynn dropped the mic in the Power Talk chat room for now. So we are being cast. Okay, she has the mic back. And so we're being broadcast or simulcast through Zoom, through YouTube Live, through our Pal Talk chat room, where we really fellowship on the highest level during the mornings and afternoons, where we come in and we chat. We create a profile. You can go to paltalk.com, download the app, create a profile, and join us in ACIM Gather for A Course in Miracles. It's the name of the room. So good morning. Welcome, Carrie and Pure and Simple, Karen, Delia, Zuma, Glorian, Dove, Lynn, Sharon, listening by radio. Carrie brought the coffee and donuts this morning. Thank you, sir. So Sharon and Dove were on prior to me going live this morning, and Sharon, she jumped right in to synchronicity with me because I'm still pondering the thoughts, and Sharon said it so perfectly, I can't repeat it. I wish I could. But she said it exactly the way I was visioning it in my mind, just the thoughts, the way the mind, and she calls the ego, just keeps going, and it's always talking. It's always suggesting, oh, look at that. I didn't see that spot yesterday. Oh, feel the weather. Oh, it's this temperature. Oh, what's that on my face? What's that I feel underneath my skin? Is that a bump? You know, it's always going. It's not all bad. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it sees stuff. It tells jokes. It makes us laugh within our own self. And laughter is good. Its goal is not always to make us feel a specific emotion. The ego's goal, the thought system, the habitual mind's goal is not always to make us feel something. It just wants us to listen and believe. Listen and believe. Now, there's a difference between listening to the mind and watching the mind or observing the mind. It wants us to listen and believe. If it says that's funny, believe it's funny, laugh. That's gotten people in trouble now. They see something, they already have a level of fame, and the mind says, oh, that's funny, I'll make a joke about it. And then the joke ends up offending, and there's backlash, and sometimes cancellation. We in the cancel culture now. And sometimes there's a lot of drama because the mind said, oh, that's funny, make a joke about it. They'll get it. And then we find that it wasn't truly funny, because if it was truly funny, it would be funny to everyone. There would be no offense. Truth is, if it's true for all. There's no separation. There's no distinction. I'm going to look at a little bit of the laws of chaos, just a little, probably this morning. And I'm going to also be looking a lot at the NTI, the Holy Spirit's interpretation of the New Testament. I've been talking about that manifestation of the word love, the characteristic of the word love. One of my favorites is that love is welcome. I never read that love was welcome before. In over 20 years, 30 years of being a Christian, reading the Bible, I never read that love was welcome. And when I saw that the first time, it was just a wow, aha moment. Oh, I love that. And I've loved it ever since. That is such a perfect word for love. Such a descriptive characteristic of the word love. Love is welcome. And so I'm going to read that from the NTI today. I'm going to read up to it. I'm going to start a few paragraphs before it and read up to it and maybe through it. We'll see. But welcome all. And Lynn put on, we laugh because it hurts too much to cry. Yeah. For some, and for others, a good cry is cleansing. And so we want to cry. We want to laugh. We welcome it all. One is not weaker than the other. One is not stronger than the other. We welcome. The problem with crying is when we resist. Oh, I shouldn't be crying. I should be stronger. I need to stop. The belief that I'm weak. And Zuma asked me, where in the NTI are you reading from, Regis? I'm not going to tell you. You just have to search and search and search until you find it. Yep. I look like I'm making jokes, and I look like I'm in a comedy, one of those small comedy clubs. If you see me on YouTube, I have my little brick wall, my blue and purple brick wall behind me. Or if you look at me on Zoom, it looks like I'm in a comedy club. That's what it reminds me of. It didn't until this moment when I was trying to be funny with Zuma. But Zuma, I'll be reading in the NTI from 1 John chapter 4. And without any further delay, I will start at the beginning. I thought I was going to start a little further down. Dear child, I have already told you that the work to be done is the sorting of thoughts. And Sharon said it so beautifully. I hope you all heard the end of her and Dove. And I just like the way she talked about the mind. It's just always going. And in fact, I typed something on the Pal Talk board. The mind always has a story, and the story always eventually gets to a problem. That's why I was saying that just a second ago, that the ego just really wants us to believe and to listen. It's not really, it's just throwing stuff up against the wall to see what sticks. It doesn't really care whether it sticks and we have an emotion of guilt, or whether we have a feeling of laughter, or whether we have a feeling of sadness, or whether we have a feeling of anger, or whether we have a feeling of hopelessness and disgust, or feeling of abandonment. It's just throwing stuff up against the wall. And it doesn't care. It's just like whatever sticks, sticks. I want you to listen, and I want you to believe, because I'm convincing you that you're separate and alone and without love, or without God, or without happiness, or without peace. They're all the same. All the same. I said 1 John chapter 4. 1 John chapter 4. That's near the back. getting near Revelations, a few books before Revelations, getting down to the end. And that was Karen asking me, what book did I say? So let's just skip, get all the mystery out. So if you're in 1 John chapter 4, let's jump over to paragraph 8, and then we're going to go back and start. We're going to do like those movies. We're going to get the ending and then go back to the beginning. God is love, and love is everything. The thoughts of everything are these: acceptance, joy, gratitude, peace, and welcome. There is no resistance in love, because love is everything, and everything cannot be resisted by that which it is. So that's where we're headed. Love is acceptance. See, what we resist persist. Love is welcome. What we don't welcome, we suffer. When we don't welcome, we suffer. Resistance is the beginning of suffering. Whatever you're suffering through, the weather, the heat, the cold, the body, ailments, the lack of money, too much money. People suffer from having too much money. It's just a problem. It drives them crazy. Then they start trying to keep it, and they decide, well, I won't pay my taxes. I found a loophole. Then they get in trouble with the IRS. now, and it's just gets crazy, because as Sharon was saying so eloquently, the mind is just always going and making suggestions, and then we believe it and we start taking action. Gets us in trouble. Sometimes it lands us in jail. Sometimes those responses
Regis, you dropped the mic.
Yeah, we just had a little internet lag there, that we're all back up and we're all synchronized. So it happens. But as I was saying, sometimes the mind suggests things and we react to them in the outer world. And from the outer world, sometimes we get in trouble based on what the suggestion was. But the mind, the thoughts, the ego, they're just going. And they just want an audience. They want us to listen and believe. And what we're slowly doing is learning to watch. And in the watching, we want to learn to question. We can just simply say, is that true? And the first response may be, yeah, I think so. Do you know that you know that you know that it's true? Well, no, not really. Well, that's a start. That's a start. That's consciousness. Not necessarily awareness, but indeed consciousness. Being able to know that I am not my thoughts. I am not the voices in my head. I don't have to feel guilty about them. I don't have to be proud of them either. Oh, let me talk. Look how smart I am. Let me tell you what I know, so I don't have to be prideful or guilty. They're just thoughts about stuff. So back to 1 John chapter 4, first paragraph. Dear child, I have already told you that the work to be done is the sorting of thoughts. We got to sort them out. This includes the sorting of feelings, beliefs, and images. That's the work. And apparently, the Holy Spirit is telling us again, because it says, dear child, I have already told you that I've already told you. Is the Holy Spirit fussing at me? Because typically when somebody say, I already told you that, they kind of, Zuma, are we being fussed at? I don't told you. I'm telling you again. But I think it's a gentle reminder in all seriousness. But it could be, if I'm a fussy Christian, I'll read it as fussing, because some of us like to get fussed at. We like to go to one of those churches where that preacher's up there fussing and telling you how you're not trying and you can do better. And you're just, all that stuff that they say. I can't even remember. I don't go to those type of churches. I had a friend that worked with, Regis, I like a pastor, a preacher that just kind of gets on to me. And I told him, well, I don't like a preacher fussing at me. I'm doing the best I can, and I know it. And don't talk to me like I'm not. So, that's where he and I differ. So I don't need you fussing at me. So, dear child, I have already told you that the work to be done is the sorting of thoughts. And for me, I've already told you, and I'm just gently reminding you again, for those that like to be fussed at, and now there's you got your fussing at. All right. But regardless, I'm being reminded again, did you take out the trash, honey? Well, it's all about you taking out the trash. I'm cooking. You can at least take out the trash. Let's not forget the work that needs to be done around here. So it is. Dear child, I have already told you that the work to be done is the sorting of thoughts. The sorting of thoughts includes the sorting of feelings, beliefs, and images. See, that's why I say the ego or the thought system or the habitual mind, it just wants us to listen and believe. Believe is funny, believe is not, believe is insulting, believe is uplifting. Just believe. Listen and believe. And if I can keep you in the habit, not the sin, the habit, the habitual mind, I'm keeping you in the habit of listening to me, believing me, and then responding and reacting to what I'm suggesting. I just want to keep you handcuffed to me, chained to me, keep you in the jail. That's why in A Course in Miracles, lesson 236, I have a kingdom. I'm his ruler, but at times it doesn't seem as though I'm its ruler at all. In fact, it seems to tell me what to do, how to think. And that kingdom is my mind. And that's the work. The work is not in this outer world. The work is not in controlling my toddlers. The work is not in controlling my teenagers. The work is not in controlling my grown kids. The work is not in controlling my spouse. The work is not into communicating and controlling my marriage. The work is not, And we think because they hired us and we relate to it as I'm going to work. But the work is not in our outer work. It's not in manipulating and controlling and being heard on my job. The work is within. The work, as the song that I love to quote, is me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not so much that the president need my prayers. I'm so holy and anointed. It's not so much that my family needs my prayers, my mama, my sister, my brother, my daddy. It's not so much that my neighbors need my prayers, that my supervisor and third level supervisors and my company CEO need my prayers. But it's me. It's me. It's me, oh Regis, standing in the need of prayer. So that's the work. I'm not running it from these two sentences because we forget that sometimes I just want to stop some of our gatherings and say, okay, why, what's our point? What's our point in having this Bible study? What's our point in having this group study? What are we trying to accomplish here? Are we just gathering to show how well we can dissect and explain some words on a page? I joined a psychological group. I forgot what you call them, just a support group. Yeah. A few years ago. It didn't last but a few weeks because I realized my purpose was just to help me remember, to remember the truth of who I am, to be encouraged, to be the truth of who I am. But it was clearly shown afterwards, it wasn't a support group. It was just a moan and groan society. And if you didn't have a problem, then you were like not keeping it real. I didn't join to talk about problems. And I can't guarantee you that I was going to have a problem every week that I came. So it was just a gripe session, just a whining and complaining. Yeah, the moaning groan society. So I was out of there. And sometimes I wonder what are we trying to gather? And why do we practice? Why in the Course in Miracles, if you're not familiar with the book, A Course in Miracles has a section called the Workbook, which has 365 lessons. But the entire book, why do we practice it? Why do we try to remember and re-remember what we've read and practice the lessons? The real work is the sorting of thoughts. It helps us sort through the thoughts that present themselves hourly, minute by minute. The Course in Miracles says minute by minute, day by day, second by second, you're choosing between the resurrection or the crucifixion. You're being host to ego or host to God. So we read, we study, that we'll have more than what we were armed with when we were born and brought into this world. That we have something, we have some truth. We've been told who we are not our whole life. We were told that's who we were, but it's actually who we are not. We are told, I am my mother and father's child. I am this, I am that, I am of this race, I am of this gender. I'm capable of doing this, but I'm not capable of doing that. I'm limited over here. I'm limited over there. I may have some freedom over here. I may have a little freedom over there. Happiness is outside of me. I have to make happiness. I have to create happiness. Life is not all about being happy. All you kids want to do is play. Most of us have at some time been yelled at by our caretakers. It made to feel that we were wrong for wanting to be happy all the time. So now we're trying to unteach that. And we got serious. They hammered and hammered and hammered and hammered and hammered us until we got serious. And we got so serious now that we've forgotten to laugh. We've forgotten how to laugh. Many of us have lost our smile. We've gotten so serious. You hold the camera up to take our picture, and we keep it real, we stop smiling. And I watch people taking photos. They're laughing and smiling. Oh, yeah, let's take a photo. Yeah, we're going to take a photo. All right, we pose, we prop ourselves up for the photo. And as soon as we count down to snap the picture, the smile goes away. And we have these flat pictures. We're smiling and talking to each other while we're smiling up until we say 3, 2, 1. And then our face drops. Because I want to capture the real me. Not in truth, the real me that I've been told who I am, and the real me that I've become to believe the lie of who I am. Because I'm surely not a happy person. Right? I'm not a happy person at all. So let me wipe this smile off my face for the camera. And I'm like, what is that? What happened to the smile? And many times, and in often cases, I'm the man behind the camera. And I'm like, where did that smile go? When did you learn that being too happy was wrong? Many people, I've heard great pastors even say that sometimes things can be going so good, they think something bad is going to happen. They're so happy, they're so blissful that something's got to be wrong. What am I missing? Somebody's about to yank the floor from underneath me. I could possibly be this happy. I was talking to a lady a few days ago, last week, and she was kind of moaning and groaning. And I'm not saying, that that's undeserving of compassion or empathy, but she was kind of moaning and groaning. And then she asked me, well, how are you doing, Regis? I said, oh, I'm great. It's easy being me. So man, if you could have saw the look on her face. What? I said, oh yeah, it's easy being me. I said, I'm going to write a book about it. She said, all is well. I'm happy. So, dear child, I've already told you that the work to be done is the sorting of thoughts. This includes the sorting of feelings, beliefs, and images. Everything that you experience within the dream of the world comes from one of two sources. I'm trying to scroll back down to where Zuma had typed it in the room. There it is. Everything that you experience within the world of the dream comes from one of two sources. The thinking mind, which is the mask of separation, or the Holy Spirit, which is the true desire of the heart. And before even reading it, I said it, not even realizing I was about to read it. Either we're host to God or the Holy Spirit, or we're host to ego. Everything that I experience within the dream of the world comes from one of two sources. The thinking mind, which is the mask of separation. That's why the mind just wants us to just listen and believe, because it's just constantly luring us into separation. Separation from myself, God, the Christ that I am, Christ in me, the hope of glory. Not some God up in the sky who sits high and looks low, not that God, but the God that I am. Everything you experience within the dream of the world comes from one of two sources: the thinking mind, which is the mask of separation, or the Holy Spirit, which is the true desire of the heart. Every thought, every feeling, every belief that you seem to live by, and every image that you seem to see or hear speaks the thoughts of one source or the other. And I love the way this is stated. Every thought, every feeling, every belief that you seem to live by. Because that's what it's all about. How I'm living, how you're living. That you seem to live by. Everything that I think I am, that I think I'm about, how I see myself in the world as a victim or not, underprivileged or not, worthy or not. I'm not worthy because I'm not cute. I'm not worthy because I'm not the right size. I'm not the right height. I didn't come from the right family. I don't have the right skin color. I don't have the right hair texture. I mean, the ego don't care what, again, it's just throwing ideas up against the wall. You know, it can get you hung up about the size of your nose, and you'll be hung up about the size of your nose till you leave the planet. Never got over your nose. Never could let that story go. Every thought, every feeling, every belief that you seem to live by, and every image that you seem to see or hear speaks the thoughts of one source or the other. So I'm either host to God, to truth, to love, to the Holy Spirit, or I'm host to the ego or the thinking mind. Your role is to discern the source of the thought, feelings, belief, or image, and then decide if you will accept what it teaches based upon the source. Now, if we want to say the devil, the thinking mind, the habitual mind, the ego, or whatever, whose report will you believe? Am I more of who God says I am, or more of who this thinking mind, this habitual mind says I am? My role is to discern the source of the thought, feeling, belief, or image, and then decide if I will accept what it teaches based upon the source. It's just that simple. And there are people who believe everything the mind suggests. Even to the point that even as it pertains to this physical world, if the mind tells me that Carrie is a bad person and don't trust him, is nothing Carrie could do to gain my trust. Is nothing he could say, is nothing he could do, because I believe the suggestions of my mind with no evidence. Carrie never done anything to hurt me, just offered me donuts and coffee every day. But my mind says, don't trust that guy. Oh, he's shady. And what thought do I go with? Do I even go with the evidence? Do I go with the evidence that this guy's been nice to me? He brings me donuts and coffee to work every day and never asks me for anything in return. Do I go with that? Nope. See, this mind, this thinking mind has a strong hold on us. It's a habit. It's a habit. And even though everything in this world is neutral, our mind is what puts the story on it. Our mind is what puts the suspicion on it. And if you're in our chat room, you'll see our chat board is firing up with a lot of comments about what I'm saying. Yeah, my wife was telling me about something that it really stuck with her, that Regina Dawn Akers had told a story about someone at work or somewhere where she just decided she didn't like her. Oh, I don't like them. Wait a minute. What do you don't like about them? What did they do? I told this story before. A lady that I met some years ago when I was doing music in New Orleans, and I was doing music at this church, doing the praise service or whatever. I was on keyboard, singing, doing what praise leaders and stuff do, you know. So she was a guest. She had been invited by one of the members, I think, who was on the praise team. And so she observed me for the first time during that Sunday morning service. And later, her family member that invited her after church introduced me to her. I don't know. We got it. I don't even know what conversation we had, but whatever the conversation was, it wasn't necessarily about, I like you, can we get together and date? But it was a conversation that was intriguing enough that we exchanged phone numbers for some reason. I have no idea why, but we exchanged phone numbers, and we began to get to know each other, talk, have conversations. And later she told me, she said, when I first saw you, I thought you were stuck up. I thought you were conceited and just stuck on yourself. And I thought it was funny. It was like, really? So I'm still the same Regis I'm like, okay, I'm not offended by this. I'm intrigued by it. Tell me more, because, and this was years before I met A Course in Miracles or the NTI. And I'm like, so you come into a place that you've never been before. You see a guy with a suit and tie on, and he's just sitting playing a keyboard and singing. And you came up with all this. I thought it's like, that's fascinating. To me, it was like, that is just totally fascinating. I said, based on what? All you see is man sitting at piano, playing piano, man sitting at piano with a microphone in front of his face, singing and playing piano. That's all you see. So so of course she couldn't give me an answer, but I just thought, wow, people really do that. But again, I was like in my 30s before I realized people would just literally lie on a person. I mean, I just thought when I hear people talking about someone lied or didn't tell the truth, I just thought maybe they got the facts mixed up. But I was in my 30s before I realized that people just literally conjure up stuff in their head and they speak it out into the world as facts. And they'll tell you, that's why I've learned, and I'm learning still, to slow down when people are trying to tell me something. Because how much of this did you even see or experience with your five senses? Most of the time, a lot of times, it was just all conjured up in the mind, or it was just mind suggestions. My thoughts told me this information, and I believe it because that's all I've done my whole life. Whether you've been in the body 20 years, 30 years, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, that's all I've done. And even if I started reading or studying and practicing A Course in Miracles, what was I doing before that? So how many years of habit do I have to undo? Of just habitually following the dictates of a thought system that's a lie. So considering the source, we used to say when we was talking about each other, if I'm telling Zuma something that this horrible guy Carrie told me, and I'm like, Zuma, Carrie told me blah, 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 blah. And Zuma would say to me, consider the source. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I don't want to believe Carrie. So, and we just picking on Carrie because he has a great sense of humor and he can take it. We know we love Carrie. He's a wonderful guy. And, but we would say to each other, consider the source. Well, now we're being urged to say it to ourselves about ourselves. Consider the source. Your role is to discern the source of the thoughts, feelings, beliefs, or image, and then decide if you will accept what it teaches based upon the source. And Zuma says, resign as your own teacher. And when I'm referring to those of you on YouTube or listening by radio, of course, I'm referring to those people who are chatting in the chat room by way of Power Talk. Join us and chat with us. But Zuma typed on the board, resign as your own teacher. You've taught yourself wrongly. Yes. Yes and yes. Next paragraph from the NTI. We are of God, and so we have within us the inherent ability to recognize the source that comes from God and the source that teaches God is not. You must only feel within the presence of your awareness the message that you are considering now, and the feeling you know within will tell you which source you are considering now. The feelings of peace, acceptance, joy, trust, witness to the true desire of the heart, For recognition of this desire brings forth the feelings of recognition. So how do I know of what source I'm listening to or is suggesting to me? The feelings of peace, acceptance, trust, and joy witness to the true desire of the heart. For recognition of this desire brings forth the feelings of recognition. If a thought, belief, or image is not aligned with true desire, the feelings within will not be the feelings of recognition. They will be fearful feelings, such as guilt, hatred, and feelings of death. When these feelings are upon you, you are looking at a source that is not true. So if I'm looking at Carrie and I'm scared of him, or you're watching me play the piano and sing, and you decide I'm scared of him, he would hurt me because he's conceited and I really think he's cute. But if I got involved with him, he probably would break my heart. He's just so self-centered. Look at him up there playing that piano and singing. He's just stuck on himself. He don't have any love for me. He would hurt me. Oh, I'm always cute. I can't leave. Oh, yes. I cannot not be cute. It's so amazing. Gosh. Oh, man. Yep. Full of himself. Yep. So, but what am I saying when I say that? I'm saying that I'm not good enough for him and he'll hurt me. That's really a feeling of fear. Oh, that person, they think they're so good. They think they're so rich, or they think they're so handsome or cute or pretty or fabulous that if I tried to be their friend, they would hurt me. They would reject me. They would make me feel how I already feel about myself. They would just they would just hammer it in some more. So that's why it says, if a thought, belief, or image is not aligned with true desire, the feelings within will not be the feelings of recognition. They will be fearful feelings. See, really, I'm just really seeing that as literal today as I ever have in this context of fearful feelings. When we look at someone and, we feel intimidated, I have a friend, we're still friends, and he used to tell me, you can be intimidating. And I just break out into laughter. He's like, there's no such thing, right? I'm like, yeah. I couldn't even, when he said, I just burst into laughter. You can be intimidating, Regis. I'm like, there's no such thing. What are you talking about? It's all in your head. And in your head, I'm better than you. In your head, you're less than me. In your head, I'm cuter than you. I'm more talented than you. I'm more this than you, more that than you. I got better hair than you. You're balding. I'm not. Whatever. And that's a fearful thought. We cover it up with all these other adjectives. We cover it up, and I've said this so many times. Anyone that's listened to me for any period of time know that I say often, why don't we just say I'm afraid? But we were taught that song. You whistle a happy tune so that no one ever knows you're afraid. We would receive so much compassion, so much love, if instead of all the smoke screens that we put up, if we would just simply say, I'm afraid, I feel vulnerable, and I feel that way because of this. And most people will not kick you. They would say, well, that's not true. I love you. I'm here to support you. What do you need? In fact, the lady that was at work that I mentioned, that I was telling to her that it's easy being me. And she was saying, well, it's just so hard for me. Life is so hard for me right now. I said, well, what one thing could make it better? I just need love. I just need love. Oh, say, well, I said, well, then how can I love you better? Help me love you. Tell me what you need. And she just smiled. She said, you're doing a good job, Regis. I said, okay. That was your one shot and you could have took it. You know, right now I give you whatever you want. You know, so she, all right. So here in John, the 4th chapter, we're being not only told what the work is, we're being told what our primary work is. We're being told how to do it. This is a fantastic chapter because we talk about love. Well, all we need to do is love. We just need to love. And many times, for me, it's like, but what is love? We just need to love. Well, what is that? How does love need to show up? What do you mean? I just need to love. We were talking about our triggers, and we were talking about just things that come up in life. Well, we just need to love it all. Love it all. But what does that mean? People in the church used to say, hold the God's unchanging hand. Where is his hand? And where can I grab it? If I could see it, I would grab it. What does that mean? Hold the God's unchanging hand. That means nothing to me. I have no idea what that means. So sometimes love, we get so pseudo spiritual. And we just said love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Well, what does that mean? Do I go out and hug the world, kiss the world? Do I go out and hug a homeless guy? What? So I love this chapter because I'm wrapping it up. I'm not going to even make it through all the paragraphs. But this chapter is giving us the characteristics, is making it tangible. How do I love? What is love? What are the feelings that are true? And what are the feelings that are false? What are the feelings that come from God and the feelings that come from the ego? You have to get a copy of the Holy Spirit's interpretation of the New Testament on Amazon or wherever it's sold, and look at the NTI, 1 John chapter 4. Love is all that there is. This is a fact you may put your faith in. When any thought does not feel like love, you may put it aside as false. Thoughts that are not love are thoughts such as these. Thoughts that are not love, and it's going to name them. It's going to put some tools in your hand. Thanks, Zuma, for posting it up. Thoughts that are not love are thoughts such as these. Lack. Oh, I don't have enough money, honey. I don't have enough followers. I don't have enough acceptance. I don't have enough friends. I'm 43 and I'm single and I don't have any friends. Oh, what a deficit in my life. Thoughts that are not love or thoughts such as these. I got to stop giving commentary because I won't finish. Lack, limits. Man, these just speak so loudly. Because all day long, that's all we talk about. Lack, limits, competition. Oh, he cuter than me. Victimhood. Oh, I was raised this way and I didn't get this, and my mama didn't this, and my dad didn't that. Personhood, strife and fighting, sickness, death, rage, sorrow, helplessness, hopelessness, control, and loss. That pretty much takes up our day, does it not? So all day long, I'm not having the thoughts of God. That's why we say we get up in the morning with our affirmations affirming all is well and spend the rest of the day proving that it's not. Because all day long, my thoughts are lack, limits, competition, victimhood, competition, who's going to get the job promotion, who's not, who's looking better in front of the eyes of the boss and who's not. Victimhood, personhood, strife, fighting, sickness, death, rage, sorrow, helplessness, hopelessness, control, and loss. And that's the day, right? That's the whole day. That's why as soon as I sit down, I fall asleep. I'm tired after all that. You had a full day. But I started the day, all is well. I am worthy and I'm enough. I am not a body. I am free. I am still as God created me. And then we spend the rest of the day proving that it is not. Because that thought system, the habitual mind says, okay, now that you had your breakfast and your little daily affirmations, now let's get back to where we were. Thoughts and limits. No, Lynn, I don't want that on Zoom. I like it the way it was. Oh, you gotta love her. She's our all day, every day. She keeps it all together. Lynn Johnson, our Zoom room, Power Talk, YouTube. She just keeps adding to her plate. She say, screw that aging process. I think she just had her 70th birthday with Carlton Pearson, and she's adding more to her plate. She's not trying to take it off. Lynn Johnson won't retire. I love it. You're my hero, my shero. And so these are the thoughts that are not of God. Can anybody relate to any of those thoughts at all? These are the thoughts that are not of God. How often during the day do we have those thoughts? Those limiting beliefs are being presented on the screen of our mind. So these are the thoughts that imply separation, that imply separateness, and separateness is illusion. So these thoughts and thoughts like them are not thoughts of love. They are false thoughts of illusion. God is love. Love is everything. The thoughts of everything are these: acceptance, joy, gratitude, peace, and welcome. 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 Acceptance, joy, gratitude, peace. And someone says, tell me 5 things you have gratitude for about yourself. And we have to pause and think and hold our head and contemplate. But tell me what's wrong. And they just come reeling out all of our thoughts of lack, limits, competition, victimhood, personhood, strife, infighting, sickness, death, rage, sorrow, hopelessness, helplessness, control, and loss. They just come flying out. What are you thankful for today? What do you have gratitude for today or right now? And there's a big pause, a big gasp. Well, let me think. Well, what were the thoughts you were having before I asked the question? Were none of those thoughts of acceptance, joy, gratitude, peace, and welcome? What were those thoughts? And I'm always saying we have to think about what we are thinking about all day, every day, and in every way. Consider the source. There is no resistance in love because love is everything, and everything cannot be resisted by that which it is. God cannot be denied fully because God is the truth that is the core of you, the truth of who I am. To deny God is to deny yourself, and this cannot be denied fully because to deny it fully would be to deny existence. Existence cannot be denied because it is. Look at this and know your salvation is at hand. Existence cannot be denied because it is. How do I know I'm worthy? Because I exist. How do I know I am love? Because I exist. And I exist in God. It is in God I live and move and have my being. It is in God that I live and move and have my being. I am that I am.
I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love. I am dropping down to the truth of who I am. I am dropping down, surrendering in love.
You're listening to ACIM Gather Radio for students and teachers of A Course in Miracles. Join us at acimgather.us.
The more you give, the more you give, the more you live.